I request the हर कोई नई दुनिया का नाम जानता है. I think जो इनकलाब, whenever we talk about journalism, उर्दू की जर्नलिज्म की जो भी बात आती है, नई दुनिया has its own place. Alhamdulillah, the kind of contribution which Shahid Siddiqui sahab has played, alhamdulillah, remarkable. And at the very same time, I think he was one of the lone voices in the Hindi heartland, always up against the so-called right forces, communal forces. But I request Janab Shahid Siddiqui sahab, ex-member of parliament, to speak not on what problems we had, what are the solutions which we can get out of this problem.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's a pleasure to be here today, not only because Rahman Khan Sahab is there, S.Y. Quraishi Sahab is there, my old friend Nasir is there, so many friends are here. I have a very special place for Bangalore in my heart, and I have always loved to visit this place because Bangalore has always inspired me. From the time of Mumtaz Khan Sahab, when Al-Amin Society was formed, and I came here 35 years back to interview him, to now this young man who is now inspiring us, and we need, there was a time when North India inspired the South. We came, Sir Syed Ahmad Khan with his Aligarh movement, Dr. Zakir Hussain with his Jamia movement, Maulana Qasim Nanutwi and Maulana Hussain Ahmad Madni Rahmatullah Alayh with his Dalum Deoband movement. We created the movement from the north. But today we are looking towards south to now energize us, to give us the feedback, because north has suffered, especially North Muslims have suffered in last few decades, especially after the partition. Partition gave a dying blow to our intellectuals, to our institutions and to our community. Because any community in the world is led by the educated middle class. Educated middle class is the vehicle of change and reform. Revolutions are brought about by the educated middle class. What happened after partition was that the educated middle class en masse migrated to Pakistan. Muslims were left here totally helpless. It was the ulama, it was the poor workers, shopkeepers who led the institutions. I know of so many educational institutions, wonderful institutions in Meerut, in Lucknow, elsewhere. The governing body कौन है? कि ये जो बुचर है, हमारे कसाई साहब हैं, टेलर साहब हैं, क्योंकि वो थोड़ा पैसा दे पाते थे. There was no one who could contribute to the maintenance of these institutions. But these people were not educated. These people could not lead the institutions. As a result, North India, we suffered. Because North Indian Muslims were not dependent on business. They were dependent on government jobs. They were dependent on the government. They ruled the country for long. Fortunately, in South India, you had the mix of the ruling class as well as the business class, the trader class in Kerala, in Tamil Nadu, in Karnataka, and this trading class, and the migration did not take place in the way it took place in North India. So, and the remaining Muslims who remained here, unfortunately, they were so afraid of working in the community. They were so afraid that there will be a tag of communalism on them. They remained away. That was the reason when in 1971 I brought out Nai Duniya. I was just a student of Delhi University. But I decided to go for Urdu journalism because I thought that it will be through Urdu that I'll be able to bring about the change in the community. My idea was that the first we have to democratize the community. First, we have to create the confidence in the community. We have to make them believe that India is our country. We have a future in India, because I remember at that time, Muslims believed that we have no future in this country. In North India especially, they used to believe कि MA करने से क्या फायदा, डॉक्टर बनने से क्या फायदा, हमें नौकरी तो मिलेगी नहीं. और अगर कोई करता भी था, they immediately used to go out, whether to Pakistan or elsewhere. Fortunately, 1971 happened, and that Shangri-La, that concept that Pakistan में बहुत जन्नत है, वो ढह गया, वो गिर गया. That was a wonderful thing which happened in 1971 because of creation of Bangladesh, and Muslims, especially in North India, realized that Pakistan was a false dream, and which Maulana Azad had made it very clear. My father, Maulana Shahid Siddiqui, he till the last moment, he was totally against two-nation theory. And every time I go to Pakistan, I tell them that it is two-nation theory which has destroyed you, which is destroying us. We are one nation, we are not two nations, we may be two countries. And unless you give up the idea of two nations, the problem of Kashmir, no problem will be solved. But that's a different issue. I won't go into detail of that. What I want to talk today about is that today we have two major problems, which started in 1857. One problem was that gradually the educated, English educated Muslims, they went in one direction. The Farsi Arabic educated Muslims went in another direction. Instead of being parallel two wheels of movement, they went in different directions. As a result, Mr. और मौलवी में फर्क हो गया. जो बात रहमान खान साहब कह रहे थे कि मौलवी अपने दायरे में कैद हो गया, अपने कुएं में बंद हो गया, और मिस्टर अपने दायरे में कैद हो गया, अपने कुएं में बंद हो गया. नतीजा यह है कि the ulama who lead the community, who tell the community every Friday what to do, what not to do, which issue to take up, which issue not take up, they were not aware of where the world is going, how the world is changing, how digital revolution is taking place, how communication revolution is taking place. They have no idea. They could not lead. While those who were English educated, they were afraid to talk about religion. And whenever they talk, they say, तुम कौन हो बोलने वाले? तुम मौलवी हो क्या? मुफ्ती हो क्या? तुम्हारी दाढ़ी कहाँ है? तुम कौन नहीं है? Because now, as a result, we did not take up the right issues in the last 70 years. As Rahman Khan very correctly said, we took up non-issues, not the real issues. We were so afraid of taking up the real issues. And those who you call yourself your opponents, they deliberately, systematically always diverted you, and we get diverted every other day. Every time there is a riot, we forget everything. For the next 1 year, we talk about the riot. Then another riot takes up. We don't talk about education. We don't talk about getting our children into not just IAS, not just UPSC. Unfortunately, we are 70, 80 years late. Now we are talking of UPSC, when the world has moved on. We have to talk of the corporate world. We have to talk of sending our children to judiciary. There is no, for next 30 years, you won't have a Supreme Court judge unless someone is nominated from the lawyers. Nobody is going to become a Supreme Court judge from your community. You don't have doctors, you don't compete, you are not going to the army. Army needs you. Army wants you. We are not preparing our children for NDA examinations. We are not preparing our children for other examinations. There are so many avenues. And I tell you, I assure you, that nobody can stop you from going and reaching the highest positions in this country unless you yourself can stop yourself, others cannot. But the only thing is that here I will slightly disagree with Rahman Khan Sahab. I will say we must realize that we are a minority, and minorities in the world are always at the top. Whether it's the Jews, whether it's the Parsis or the Jains or the Sikhs or any minority anywhere in the world, they are at the top. Why are they at the top? Because they realize कि हमारा कोई माई बाप नहीं है. We will be discriminated, and how to fight discrimination? By being better than everyone else. You have to be better. आपको 21 होना पड़ेगा. आप 18 हो, 19 हो, उसके बाद बोलो हमारे साथ अन्याय होता है, हमारे साथ जुल्म होता है. अरे भैया तुम 18 हो तो तुम्हारे साथ तो अन्याय होगा. तुमको 21 होना पड़ेगा. You have to be better than everyone else. And we are not creating, unfortunately, our ulama and we ourselves, our middle class, intellectuals, intelligentsia, did not create that competitive spirit. We are easily we give up. अरे कुछ नहीं होने वाला, कुछ नहीं मिलेगा, छोड़ो भाई, छोड़ो, काम धंधा कर लो. एक बार कंपटीशन में बैठ गया, फेल हो गया, छोड़ दो. रहमान खान साहब ने नहीं छोड़ा, look where he is. सुभान ने नहीं छोड़ा, look where he is. So we have to create a competitive community. We have to understand that we have to work harder than everyone else. Others can have the luxury. When I used to study in the college, तो हमारे I was in Delhi college जिसमें मैनेजमेंट मुस्लिम था, nearly 30-40% मुस्लिम्स थे, तो हमारे लोग ये कहते थे, कोई लड़के मान लीजिए गलत काम कर रहे हैं, कोई शराब पी रहा है, जुआ खेल रहा है या वक्त जाया कर रहा है, तो हम उनको जब कहते थे, वो कहते थे दूसरे भी तो कर रहे हैं, हमने क्या? मैंने कहा नो, they can have the luxury of wasting their time, you don't have. They can have the luxury of indulging in all sorts of things you do not have. You have to be much better than everyone else to reach where others can reach. But otherwise, you will not reach where others can reach. आपको बेहतर होना पड़ेगा. You will have to be number one, better than number one to be there, and that's what is required. And I congratulate the Shahid group. I congratulate Falcon group. I congratulate lot of other people, especially in South, in Kerala, in Karnataka, in Tamil Nadu and Maharashtra, where they are working in the direction, but still there's a long way to go. And that's where Quraishi Sahab, myself and some of our friends in Delhi, we are thinking on the lines to bring us all together. The unfortunate thing is that we are working in pockets in, जिसको कहते हैं नखलिस्तान में, हम जो छोटे छोटे टापुओं में काम कर रहे हैं. We are not, there is no coordination, there is no synergy between all of us. Institutions are working, but there is no coordination. So we intend to create an umbrella organization, a confederation of Muslim NGOs, a confederation of Muslim institutions, so that we all work under one umbrella and we can help each other. For example, if we open a medical college in Bihar or in UP, we can get some of the teachers from here, we can get some of know-how from here, we can send some of our people, some of our teachers here to get trained, and between schools and colleges we can bring about that interaction. Because another problem we face is that we have lots of institutions, and especially in North India, the infrastructure is there, because our forefathers gave lot of properties to the Waqf. Those Waqf properties are there, those wonderful colleges are there in Meerut, in Saharanpur, Muzaffarnagar. I saw Islamia College, which was an inter college for last 100 years. When I became an MP, I saw to it that they become degree colleges. For 100 years, nobody was caring. Even our Muslim MPs were not giving any money to these colleges because they were not bothered about education. I gave 90% of my MP-led fund to educational institutions so that we can change the situation there. But there, the quality of education is not good. Our children, they don't get 99% marks. We are very happy if we get 70% or 80% result, and those out of those 70-80%, there are hardly any who have crossed 80% or 90% marks. Today, the competition is so high, so we have to improve the quality of education. We have to bring the synergy between the Mister and the Maulvi, the Madrasa and the schools, and that's what I think Subhan has done. And in North India also we have to do that. We have to adopt the madrasas, we have to give the best of education to our madrasas and create a role model. Let's adopt some of the madrasas and create a role model so that other madrasas also do not hesitate. They are afraid that the worldly knowledge will destroy our whole system. No sir, our madrasas were meant to have the worldly knowledge. Our deen was there to have the worldly knowledge. Our deen came to reform the world. दुनिया ठीक करने आए थे ना, सिर्फ आखिरत ठीक करने नहीं आए थे. हमारे पास जो पैगंबर भेजे गए थे, दुनिया को सुधारने के लिए भेजे गए थे. हम दुनिया बिगाड़ के सिर्फ आखिरत की फिक्र करें तो ना आखिरत मिलेगी ना दुनिया मिलेगी. इसलिए दुनिया को संवारना बहुत जरूरी है. ये हमारे दीन की इबादत का हिस्सा है. ये तालीम हमारे इबादत का हिस्सा है. और तीसरी चीज हमें जो करनी है वो है पुल बनाना, building bridges. Because in this country we must understand, and lot of us do understand, but we have to be consistently working on it to build bridges with every community. We have to, जो रहमान खान साहब ने बात कही थी, we can't wait for others. If we can't go for tit for tat. We have to be positive. Let others be negative. Let them say whatever they want to say. They want to divert us, and we get diverted. You have an MP here. Every other day he gives a statement, and the whole community is busy countering him. Why should you counter him? Ignore him. He will become useless the day Muslims start ignoring these idiots. You say something positive. You try to bring other communities with you. I will love it when we have these kind of interactions where you have about 20, 30 of the BJP, RSS, and or other religious groups. Hindutva is not represented, Hindu community is not represented just by RSS and BJP. There are so many religious groups who are doing such wonderful work. Invite them. Invite some of your NGOs, invite some of their Hindu NGOs, other NGOs from the various communities, have a round table with them. What Quraishi Sahib has written, the myth, explode that myth, and there is not one myth. And unfortunately, there are more myths within our community. We think that our religion is in danger every day, our 4 शादी नहीं होगी तो हम बर्बाद हो जाएंगे, तबाह हो जाएंगे, हमें उसको हर हाल में प्रोटेक्ट करना है. This is absolute myth. We have to expose these myths, and we have to create a situation where the other communities follow us. Today, people follow the Christians. Why? Everybody wants to get admission into Christian convent schools, colleges. They are ready to pay any amount of money. What are Christian schools? They are madrasas. They are Christian madrasas. They started with the church. Every Christian convent is a church institution. Today they are the best institution. Why can't your madrasas be the same kind of convent places as these institutions are? So all these things have to be done, and inshallah, now I'm seeing a undercurrent or revolution taking place in the community, and especially the last thing I'll say is our women who are going to lead this revolution. It is our women who are going to change the society. It is our women who are going to create the next generations, who are going to produce hundreds of subhans, who are going to change our community's face. And that is extremely important, and therefore we must focus, totally we must focus on women's education, and that education is going to bring about the educational revolution, the economic revolution, and this economic empowerment, educational empowerment is going to give us the respect we demand, and ultimately, as I said in the morning, that Indian Muslims are in the best of situation, best of world. You have a country where you can get the best of education. You may not have got it in Pakistan. You may not have got it in Iran. You may not have got it in Saudi Arabia. Today, some best engineers and doctors are going to Gulf. Muslims from here are going to Gulf and working there. Some of the best advisors of the Amirs and the Shah and the kings are from Indian subcontinent. So these Muslims, Indian Muslims, are going to lead the Islamic world because they understand the positivity of our religion. In last 1,000 years, they learned to live other communities, and in this they have brought out the best in the Quran, the best in the Hadith. We have brought out the positivity, the humanness of Islam, the best of Islam, and therefore the whole world says that. So many presidents and prime ministers have asked me that why are Indian Muslims not involved in any kind of terrorism? Because in Indian Islam, in India, we have brought about the best from Islam. It is the same Quran, it is the same Hadith, but Maulana Azad said कि आलिम जो होता है तबीब की तरह होता है, हकीम की तरह होता है. उसके पास एक बीमारी के एक इलाज है. अगर मरीज को सूट नहीं कर रहा तो दूसरा नुस्खा है, दूसरा नहीं सूट कर रहा तो तीसरा नुस्खा है. लेकिन जो घटिया डॉक्टर है वो क्या करता है, उसके पास एक ही नुस्खा होता है. कुछ भी आ जाए, जुकाम आ जाए तो लाल गोली पीली गोली दे देगा, किसी को टाइफाइड हो जाए तो वही गोली दे देगा. वही हमारे आजकल के, माफ करें, कुछ आलिमों का हाल हो गया कि क्योंकि इल्म कम है दीन का, तो वो एक ही नुस्खा दिए जाते हैं, जबकि उसी कुरान करीम के अंदर 10 नुस्खे मौजूद हैं. अगर एक सूट नहीं कर रहा तो दूसरा निकालिए, दूसरा नहीं कर रहा तीसरा निकालिए. आपके पास उसी में हदीसें मौजूद हैं, जैसा कि आज सुबह को कुरैशी साहब ने बताया कि आपके पास मौजूद है सब कुछ, आप वहां से क्या चूज करते हैं, क्या निकालते हैं, वो आपके ऊपर डिपेंड करता है। और वही निकाल के हमें इस एक ऐसा पॉजिटिव माहौल बनाना है कि जिसमें इंडियन मुस्लिम्स विल प्रोड्यूस द बेस्ट ऑफ डॉक्टर्स, द बेस्ट ऑफ इंजीनियर्स, द बेस्ट ऑफ in every field, not only for the country. We will work to build this country, we'll work to make this beautiful country, and then we will also lead the Muslim community which is going through very difficult times. It is not only Indian Muslims. Muslim world is going through the most challenging times, and the reason is that the Muslim community is not ready to understand the change which has taken place in the last 200 years, and those communities which do not move with the change, they are left behind. You have to learn to move with changing times, adapt yourself to them and use them for your own reasons, and Islam does not stop you, definitely not. The unfortunate part is that some of the ulamas who stopped in time have tried to stop the community in time. They have to understand that no, my Quran has the solution for the modern age. My Hadith has all the solutions for the modern age, not modern age for next thousands of years. But the problem is ours, not of the Deen, not of the Sharia. The problem is in us, and we must resolve this problem. And I thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to speak to you. And inshallah, we will come again. We will come with our group once we have formed the group we are dreaming of, and we will come with it, and we would like to invite the Karnataka NGOs, the Karnataka institutions, and have a big conference with them for a day or 2 days to see how we can bring coordination, cooperation and synergy between the North Indian schools, colleges and institutions and the South Indian institutions and colleges. Thank you very much for that.
अभी इंटरैक्शंस जितने भी होते हैं, हमेशा जो भी बातें होती हैं, कहीं कोई बात किसी को पसंद आए, किसी को ना पसंद आए, कोई बात हो सकती है नागुज़री लगे किसी को। मकसद ये नहीं है किसी को किसी हर्ट करना किसी को है, या फिर किसी के ऊपर तहमत लगाना मकसद नहीं है। मैं क्योंकि कुछ बातें निकल के आएंगी, क्योंकि इंटरेक्शन अभी शुरू होगा। Before the interaction with